And welcome back to Who Would Win. Today's Who Would Win comes to us from the Sora Spider, who asked the question, who would win a fight? Saitama from One Punch Man versus Blossom from the Powerpuff Girls. Obviously, Blossom is the leader of the Powerpuff Girls, and she has all the basic powers of the Powerpuff Girls, including high durability, though not invulnerability. We've seen the Powerpuff Girls get beaten around before. Super speed, together all three of them were able to move so fast they actually went into the future, so they have actual temporal speed capabilities, but only when it really comes to traveling. Otherwise, they're just extremely fast. Super strength, we've seen them lift large objects, heavy objects before, like building-sized objects, and be able to punch monsters around. Blossom herself is the most level-headed and mature of the group, and she has an extra power where she's able to freeze, has an ice breath. Although it technically turned into a fire breath at the end of the episode, but as far as I know, she still has the ice breath. That's basically it with Blossom. Saitama's gag, obviously, is that he is the One Punch Man. Anything he hits, he will defeat in one punch. He'll kill in one punch. Yeah, and he has no real superpowers apart from his physicality, but his physicality makes him basically the strongest character in this universe. The joke of the creators is he is a hero at the end of his story, where he's finally become the strongest hero in the world, thrown back into the beginning of the story, where everyone's got to like catch up to him now. And for the longest time, we just never really had a good idea of how strong Saitama really was. We had seen glimpses of him going more than just like 1% of his power, like against Boros's Raging Star collapsing star cannon or collapsing star roaring cannon, which was said to either be planet raising or planet destroying. So, and then there was also the giant asteroid feat where he destroyed a giant asteroid that, in theory, was going to not just wipe out the city, but a giant chunk of the planet. And he just blew it straight up with one punch. That apparently wasn't even trying. He survived intense gravity from Boros's right hand in command. But up until recently in the series, we've never actually seen a good glimpse of what he's really capable of. And in any of these versus matches where Saitama comes up into the fray, like Saitama versus Goku versus Superman versus Thanos, whatever, Saitama just hadn't displayed a level of power that you could make a significant argument for. Even though he wasn't displaying his full power, he wasn't like a universal being or whatever. That leads me into, and I literally just read the chapter today just to confirm just what everyone was talking about. Where Saitama's power currently lies, and Saitama might not still be going all out in the current chapter, but he is going much harder than we've ever seen him go on an opponent. What we've seen with Saitama right now is this. Saitama is still not a universal level threat. He does not have a universal level of power, because if he did, those punches he was throwing would have literally shook the entire universe and basically start cracking the fabric of reality, basically. That's not what's happening here. However, what we have seen now of Saitama, first off, we can now say that Saitama can survive on a planet that does not have oxygen. He apparently he's holding his breath this entire time, but he's having a conversation too, because they're on Jupiter at the moment. No, sorry, they're on one of Jupiter's moons, which, as far as we know, doesn't have oxygen. Now, granted, maybe this is just for the gag of it, but yeah, it seems a little odd. But that doesn't really matter in the case of a fight. It's the strength feats now that we got to talk about. First and foremost, we've now actually seen him able to grab a portal, a dimensional gateway that Garu. I actually never heard how to say his name. Is it Garo or Garo? I'm gonna say Garo. Garo is using teleport basically. He just grabbed it and just moved it. He didn't break it, mind you, but he moved it on his own free will. Even Garo was looking like, what the hell? Garo, by the way, has basically broke his own limiter and keeps transcending. And he even said the way to beat this guy's power seems limitless. And Saitama has even said he can't get strong, which means there's a limit. There's a cap to how strong Saitama is right now. We've just never seen the limit. He's basically said, okay, fine, I'm just going to have to keep I'm breaking my limits to catch up to him. But obviously, we also didn't see him take the surface of the moon they're on, lift it, and just shred it and create a giant atmosphere of rubble around it just by serious style flipping the table, as it was called. Looked like a giant. Looked like he was splitting the planet into it, the planetoid into. But no, that wasn't the case. But obviously, the calc everyone is now talking about is the two of them clashing. Is it Blast, the guy who's kind of able to throw like dimensional pockets around, try to keep them contained? I think that's him. Basically redirecting the energy from the attack into space, and then there's just this empty void of nothing of black. So and it basically was serious punch to the second power because both of their punches were clashing. So I can't obviously do the math on that. I'm not an expert on mathematics or anything like that, at least not that level. However, the things we can kind of glean from that. One, that was hundreds of stars in that one area that probably just got snuffed out. The force of their hit went light years to the next star systems and wiped every one of those out. Two, this is not a universal level feat. If this were a universal level feat, obviously the whole universe would be gone at this point. Or at least there'd be something like, because we still see the empty black void of space. So it's clear they didn't hit the edge of the universe. So it's not a universal level feat. 3, this was not Saitama's full capability. And I don't mean that in the sense of he's still not going all out, although he's not. I mean, that level of power we saw was not all Saitama because he was him and Boros are clashing. A portion of that power, be it 50% or less, is still, I can say Boros. Garo and him are still clashing. They clashed. There was 2 different punches clashing. And Garo's now reached a point where he can take more serious hits from Saitama and keep going. So they clashed. At best, it was 50-50. At worst, it was it was less than that, but probably over 10 or 20%. So a chunk of that has to go to Garo in terms of the energy output. Now, if we were to theoretically say, until they reveal something in the next coming chapters, that if Saitama went all out, he could do that on his own, that in theory does make sense. But that would mean that that's got Saitama at his full power. We still don't know Saitama's full power. We now have a higher gauge of it now that he's not universal, but he's well over planetary and he's well over Starbuster. Most people have said it probably puts him at multi-solar system, but it doesn't even put him at galaxy. And the reason for that is, the reason it doesn't put him at galaxy is galaxies are hundreds of millions of billions of stars in just one galaxy. And there are multiple galaxies, like God knows how many galaxies. So, because the standard grading of power is you go town level, you go city level, you go state, I guess you could say statewide level, but country level, then you go continental level, then you go planetary level or moon level, then you go planetary, then you go star, then you go solar system, you then go galaxy, universe, multiverse, and then beyond those concepts. That's the general scaling tier. And Saitama has not demonstrated anything right now beyond, at best, low galactic tier. And that's at very best. At low tier right now, he has demonstrated multi-solar system, though, which is still insanely impressive. It's a lot stronger than I admit that I thought they'd ever make Saitama. I mean, I figured they'd make him maybe strong enough to destroy a planet. Easy, honestly. But I didn't think they'd make him strong enough to destroy a star, let alone hundreds in one go. So, yeah, hats off to the writers for making the versus debates now a lot more interesting. But yeah, I bring all this up and clarify this, A, to show that Saitama isn't as powerful as a lot of the fans are going to try to make him out to be, but B, to illustrate that while he's not that powerful, he's a lot stronger than we made him out in the verses prior to this chapter coming out. So yeah, unfortunately, Blossom, while she can hit hard, she probably can move faster than he can, given enough push to shove, because so far we haven't seen anything to illustrate that Saitama can go back in time through sheer speed. whereas Blossom and Bubbles and Buttercup can. But apart from that, she would just kind of be doing the Garo thing of knocking him around a bit. He's not even feeling the punches, and eventually he just kind of puts her down. She might have the durability enough to take a hit from him, but it wouldn't be for any standing shot he throws at her. But anyway, this is just my opinion. I do think Saitama would pretty much win the fight. Blossom maybe comes at him thinking he's a villain. He's just like, what? And maybe she gets a shot and he just, pooh. You hit kind of hard. Sorry, kid, I don't want to play. All right. Maybe he just flicks her edge. Okay, now go edge. Well, so, yeah. Until then, though, my money is going to go on the big Baldy himself, Captain Baldy, Saitama. Until then, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you folks for the next one. Later.